Moving on, we have Psyche Kusuo no... I forget what that symbol's called. Non. Psyche Kusuo, an otherwise normal teenager, has various Esper powers, telepathy and telekinesis included. This should have been cool, but through experience, Psyche comes to realize that having powers while trying to lead an ordinary life is a bad mix. So basically it's a guy with a bunch of superpowers that doesn't want them. Which seems cool. I think Funimation already put out the first episode for this, but I haven't seen it yet. So, should probably get around to that. It's actually on my plan to watch list. It seems interesting, as far as guy has superpowers, doesn't want them. Yeah, I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet. Don't know why. Anyways, yeah, I don't know what else to say. The character design's kind of interesting, with like the pinkish, bright pink almost hair, and then he has like bulbous antenna sort of looking things with like green shades. Like, dude looks like an alien. Maybe he is an alien. Maybe that's the twist. Yeah, but it seems interesting. It's interesting that it's being co-done by JC Staff and some place called Egg Firm, which I've never heard of. They've probably done something, unless they are brand new. Maybe JC Staff is following all the other studios and they're making like a sub-studio that is branching off from them like everyone else. Like how with Studio branched off of Production IG, Mappa came off of Madhouse, I believe? Silverlink came out of Shaft. You know, that kind of thing. Maybe Egg Firm is the new sub-JC Staff studio. I don't know. Yeah, I'm interested. I want to get around to watching it. Next we have Puzzle & Dragons Cross, animated adaptation of the Puzzle & Dragons Cross Nintendo 3DS puzzle role-playing game. If you like that game, you should probably watch this. Otherwise, I don't think this will appeal at all, because I haven't played and it doesn't appeal to me at all. That was quick. Moving on, we have Banana, anime adaptation of stationery maker company Culia's Banana Cat mascot character. Okay, so look, I saw this on the list, and I immediately said this was going to be anime of the season. Like, it was just obvious. So, I watched the first episode, and it was like, holy shit. Like, literally the first shot is a panning of the universe, and the narrator just says, banana. That's literally the first thing that happens in the show. And then it ends with a fucking cat picture. Like, an actual real-life cat picture. Like, every episode is going to end with a picture of a real-life cat. Just a random one. Probably one of the staff members. Like, each staff member will take turns having a picture of their cat. It's incredible. It's so incredible. It's a short, by the way. It's a 3-minute short. It is not even anime of the season. It is not even anime of the year. It is anime of the century. At least I thought that. And then I did some more looking. And it turns out, not only is the banana cat, but a lot of there are more banana cats that are going to show up, by the way. Different kinds of banana cats. Most of the banana cats in the show are voiced by fucking Yuki Kaiji. What the fuck? It didn't even sound like him. I mean, then all the banana fucking cat says is nya, but it didn't even sound like him. But he has to do like 10 different banana cat voices, and it's like, holy shit. This is an anime of the century. This is anime of the fucking millennium. Like, this is literally the greatest thing that could be airing on television right now. And for us, the internet. You cannot get better than this. If you're not watching this, what the fuck is wrong with you? Watch this fucking show. It's incredible. It is the most amazing thing you could watch in a 3-minute short. Jesus Christ. It's a fucking banana that's a cat. Where could it go wrong? What is wrong with you if you're not watching this? Anyways, moving on. Sorry, got a little too excited. We have a new game. Alba Suzukaze graduates from high school and joins the Eagle Jump Game Company. The person who made the game, I'm like lightheaded. I'm hyperventilating from that rant. Whew. The person who made the game that Alba loved as a grade schooler just happens to be Alba's senior at the company. I watched the first episode of this because I was interested in it, mainly because Doga Kobo was doing it, and I like them. They did Himoto, which I liked more than most people, it seems. They also did Nosaki-kun, which aired forever ago. When the fuck is the second season coming? And yeah, they have Doga Kobo's very good production values, and they also have very good animators. Although the animation that Doga Kobo usually does that's really good is usually on more subtle things. Like obviously you have your One Punch Mans where like crazy shit's happening all over the place. But Dogakobo usually does their better animations in like the more subtle things. Like not only do they have like fun little like blobby blur lines when characters do things quickly for the most part. I don't think there were any in this show. But like even motions as subtle as like pushing an elevator button. Like a lot of shows it's just, like 3 keyframes. The finger goes closer, it pushes the button. And this one the finger's actually pointed up, it goes over, presses the button. Like just pay attention to like it's like really like early on in the episode. Just pay attention to like when the button of the elevator is pushed. Like there's a lot of detail going on there in there for a subtle motion of like that had to be animated. Like it's actually really smooth looking. And a lot of shows wouldn't do that. Like it'd just be finger pointed out, move forward, like Photoshop the finger forward, push the button, retract. But yeah, they have Dark Cove's always had pretty good production values, and a lot of the stuff in the show is very visually appealing. Obviously the comparison a lot of people are going to make after reading the synopsis is Shirobako. And I think that while it may be a reason for why this got adapted, because it's a girl joins the game production company, it's a lot less Shirobako than that, obviously. It's a lot more about, the cute girls doing, lighthearted kind of silly things more than actual production of a game. Although they do some production of the game. It's just the focus isn't really on that aspect. It's more about, the girls working at the company and they just kind of like, some silly stuff that happens. It's another one of those universes where males don't seem to exist at all. I mean, there's a couple in like the opening where she's like taking the train, but they're like faceless blobs. So like any character with an actual face, like there are no males, they don't exist. It's that kind of show. But I mean, you can't really go wrong with it. Like it's not really a cute girls do nothing show because they're making a fucking game. Like they're doing something. The closer comparison I would say to this is actually Anne Happy from last season. I would say that the first season of Anne Happy was funnier, but I actually liked New Game's episode more because it flowed better. Flowed isn't a word. It's not flew. It had better flow to it. That's what I'm looking for. It's not necessarily, it's not pacing I'm looking for. It really is flow. Like everything just kind of like went nicely, and it's really fucking hard to describe the difference between flow and pace without a script. But just trust me. I pretend to know what I'm talking about. Trust me. But yeah, like even though like maybe your heart's broken in me saying it's not like that much like Shirobako, you should probably give it a shot though. It's still lighthearted and amusing and fun. Just watch the first episode. It's one of those first episodes where you'll know if you want to watch more or not. It's a pretty encapsulated first episode. Just give it a shot. Some of you may want to keep watching just based on the production values alone, because Go is a good studio. So yeah, there you go. Next up is Show by Rock Short, which is shorts that are a spinoff of the Show by Rock TV series, which aired either a season or 2 seasons ago, or maybe it was forever ago. I don't fucking remember. I didn't watch the show. You should probably watch this if you watch those, because although it's a spinoff, it probably relies on you knowing stuff from the show. Also, there's in parentheses at the bottom, a full sequel series is also planned. So the shorts may tie into some kind of thing that's going to happen in the sequel. So you should probably only watch this if you've seen the previous show. So that eliminates a lot of people from watching the show pretty easily. Next up, we have Amamata Inazuma. Math teacher Kohei Inuzuka is a widow with a young daughter named Tsumuki. Inuzuka isn't adept in the kitchen, but with the help of his student Katori Ida and his daughter, he embarks on a culinary adventure. This is a show a lot of people are going to watch and a lot of people are going to like because it almost seems like required to like a show when there's a little girl in it. I mean this kind of a little girl, not like New Game's little girls. By the way, I should mention back in New Game, like you may be like slightly like confused because the lead character looks like she's an elementary schooler and she's working in a game company. It's not something that's like one of those things where a lot of people look at it and they're like, oh my god, all these little girls that are being passed off as mature. It's actually a joke in the show. Like everyone in the studio is like, why the fuck's a middle schooler here? Before like they realize that she's actually the new employee and she's older than she looks. So, by the way, I just thought I'd mention that as a side comment in case that was something that was turning people off from the show. Anyways, this is the little girl I'm talking about. Like 3-4-year-old little girl. Like actual 3-4-year-old little girl. Like these kind of shows with them in it, like it's almost like required to like it. Like you're almost like Satan if you don't. Which isn't me making accusations, I'm just making an observation. On the one hand, I want to watch this because, I mean, I'm sure a lot of the praise is beyond just that, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I guess I don't have that extra something that makes me want to watch the show. And maybe I won't get it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a contrarian. Maybe I just don't want to watch the show because everyone else likes it for what I think is a silly reason. I don't know. Maybe I'll get around to it. I think depending on my schedule, I'll pick it up or I won't, because I need to see once the season has started out, like what I'm looking at time wise as far as like shows that are releasing. And if I have a nice chunk of time to watch more, then I'll pick it up. Otherwise, it can just stay to the side. There just wasn't that extra thing. Like, I get it, you know, the guy, he makes the food, and it's good, and he makes it for his daughter, and then there's a student that's helping him out, and, you know, he's on a culinary adventure, it says. Like, I get it. It's just, I don't know. There's just not that extra thing to pull me in, I guess. I don't know what it is that it's missing. I couldn't tell you if you asked, but I don't know. Like I said, depending on my schedule, if I have, if there aren't too many shows, like, interfering with watching it, like, maybe the day it comes out, I'm only watching, like, a show or two, then it'd be easy for me to pick it up. But if I'm watching, like, 4 or 5 other shows that day, then a lot less likely. Yeah, there's that. I mean, I don't really need to tell you on the show. It seems like a lot of people already, you know, excited for it and happy for it, and there you go. So, next we have Grayman Hollow, which is a sequel to the Grayman's TV series, which aired, how many fucking years ago was it? I didn't watch it, but I know about it, obviously. Grayman's, like, somewhat popular. Well, at least it used to be, back when it fucking aired. From what I've heard, like, this TV series actually does expect you to have remembered what happened in Grayman. So, if you haven't watched Grayman, or you have watched it but don't remember anything about it, you still might want to not watch it, or you might want to get like a recap on what happened and then watch it. But anyways, it's a sequel, so you need to have watched the previous to see this, from what I've heard. So there you go. Next we have Taboo Tattoo. Justice Akaza, his name is Justice. Wow, Justice Akazuka, nicknamed Seigi. Oh, I guess Seigi is Justice in Japanese, isn't it? Is a young man who is good at martial arts. Seigi rescues a homeless old man on the street one day from some thugs, and the man gives Seigi an object that imprints a tattoo on his palm. However, it is not an ordinary tattoo, but a special weapon that gives Seigi supernatural powers such as warping space-time. Seigi then meets a female American agent named Iji? That's a very female American agent name. Whose duty is to recover the tattoos. Seigi decides to help her and gets wrapped up in a cross-national conspiracy. So, it's a show that's going to sound very familiar if you watch a lot of anime. Well, not on a literal level, but on a general level. Guy does a thing, he gets a superpower, he gets wrapped up in a bunch of stuff, which can go either badly or well. Like, I'm not gonna make a judgment call on it being bad just because other shows have done it. Like, it's really just a matter of how well you do it. But at the same time, like, I'm a little burnt out on these kinds of shows, so I'm, like, not that eager to, like, give it a shot anyways, even if it could turn out to be great. Like, it really is a matter of how well it handles what it does. That's really all it comes down to. But at the same time, I'm just like, I'm not really feeling it this season. So, I'm just kind of passing on it. I'm trying to get I still need a season where I don't watch that many shows so I can watch shit in my backlog, because it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it needs to go away. So, I need a light season. So, a reason for me to not watch something's great. But again, I'm not making a judgment call on the show. It really just matters on how well it's handled or not. It doesn't matter how many times like it's been done, even generally in other shows. It just matters on how well it's executed. So, who knows whether it's handled well or not. But that's for people to make judgment calls on when they watch it. From what I've heard, it seems like people are like, yeah, it's another one of those. So it seems like it doesn't do anything special. But then again, I have disagreed with people on things before. So, who really knows? Really better to make your own judgment call, right? I was gonna add something and then I immediately forgot what it was. Oh yeah, I heard that people actually like the girl. Like, it was few and far between, but like the people that are actually like giving it a little bit more than just it's another one of those shows. Seem to are like, lead girl personality is pretty neat. So I heard that. Don't know if it's true or not. Again, haven't watched it, but hey, that's what I've heard. Moving on, we have Fudanshi Koko Seikatsu. Sakaguchi is a high school boy and also a Fudanshi who loves boys' love stories. He hangs out with his friends, a Fujoshi named Rumi, his gay friend Yujiro, fellow Fudanshi Daigo, and his normal friend Nakamura. This is I believe it's another 3-minute short. It's another one of those shows that could be interesting based on, like, its material. Like, dude, like, boys' love stories, but he's, like, the main gimmick, because I watched the first episode, is he likes boys love stories, but he's not actually gay. So basically, like, he has to deal with all these judgment calls, like, when he's, like, getting all this stuff. And when he's talking about his, like, you know, how much he likes it. And, it could be handled well, could be not handled well. It's a 3-minute short. Like, it's hard to really stay off 3 fucking minutes. So, who really knows? Like, I'll keep watching it because it's 3 minutes, see how it tackles whatever it's doing. It's largely a comedy, though. It's not like some kind of big social commentary or anything. But yeah, it's a show. That's a thing. I don't know. It's not really much to say about a 3-minute short. I even watched the show and I don't even have anything to say. It's a 3-minute short. First episode was okay, I guess. Like, it was just whatever. It was largely an intro episode. It didn't really do anything. So, eh. Really, it's the second and third episodes and such that are really going to cement whether I keep watching or whether I think it's, like, okay or not, really. Moving on. We have Servamp. When a stray black cat named Kuro crosses my hero Shiroda's path, a high school freshman's life will never be the same again. The high school freshman. Why did I say the high school freshman's life? I watched too much Game of Thrones. The high school freshman's life will never be the same again. Kuro is, in fact, no ordinary feline, but a servamp, a servant vampire. While my hero's personal philosophy is one of non-intervention, he soon becomes embroiled in an ancient, altogether surreal conflict between vampires and humans. So, I watched the first episode of this, expecting to hate it, and it was alright. It didn't do anything too crazy. Like, it wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it was alright. If anything, it leaned more towards the good, actually, than the bad. Like, it's pretty much your standard, you know, shit fare, just kind of like Taboo Tattoo, where dude gets wrapped up in, like, a conflict. Normal dude gets wrapped up in a conflict he doesn't completely understand by accident, and then goes even further. But what I like about this is that he was only somewhat within the conflict. Like, he only had a temporary contract with the dude by accident at first, and he wanted to break the contract. He didn't want anything to do with him, although he didn't know anything about the larger picture. But when he found out about the larger picture and some shit happened, like, he willingly threw himself into a full contract. So it's a bit different in that, like, being pulled mercilessly into it and just having to get used to it. I mean, he'll still have to get used to it, but he willingly threw himself into this conflict in order to do something. So I kind of like that angle on it. I also like the main vampire dude. He's like this lazy bum that doesn't want to do anything. He's just like, this is too much work. I don't want to fucking do any of this shit. He's like, God damn it, why'd you have to make a contract with me? And I kind of like that. They have a similar kind of conflict going on with, like, the deal that was going on with Ushio and Tora, where, like, they don't like each other at all. Like, they have completely conflicting ideologies, and they just, like, they can't stand each other, and they're just gonna have to, like, grow on each other pretty much. It's, you know, the Ushio and Tora comparison's actually pretty apt. Their relationship and conflict within that is pretty similar. So it could be pretty cool. Like, it's the production value is, like, whatever. It's brains based. It's, like, serviceable, but not, like, incredible. My biggest issue is usually when I watch brain based shows, they have the pacing of a fucking molasses. Of molasses, not a molasses. What the fuck words? So we'll see how that goes. Maybe they're changing because Brains Base hasn't been putting out too many hits lately. Who knows? And the first vampire they fought was a fucking loony bin, which is always fun. So. And then, like, the end of the episode was actually pretty great, too. Like, basically, like, there was the scene, it was, like, the aftermath of the scene that happened, so there were a bunch of cops there, and, like, random civilians were off to the side, and, like, the supposed main villain or whatever was just standing on, like, a arched building thing nearby, and he starts just fucking laughing, and everyone just looked over like, the fuck? And he just disappeared. Yeah, I don't know why it was funny, but it was. Or maybe he said something, I don't remember. I think he said something and then laughed. I don't know, but it was funny. I thought it was funny, at least. Moving on, we have Cheerdanchi. The story revolves around the slightly odd and cute members of a cheerleading squad at a men's university. I was thinking about picking this up because it's kind of interesting that it's, you know, it's another one of those sports shows, but rather than being about, like, you know, physical, athletic, sport, traditional kind of thing, it's cheerleading instead. And it's a bunch of dudes, so it's kind of cool. But at the same time, it was, I heard that it was just kind of like any other sports show where it was like, they have to make the team, and then they have to rise to glory, and it didn't seem like there was much on a character front to interest me, so based on what I heard, just floating around, it didn't really seem to interest me that much. Maybe my mind will be changed, because it was something I was kind of interested in ahead of time, as far as, just the sheer difference in it being, like, a sports show, but it being, you know, guys cheerleading instead of the usual thing. It seemed like an interesting take, but if it's just the same standard fare regardless, it's, like, kind of wasted, you know? Yeah, moving on. Going through some of these pretty quickly. What's changed? I've actually managed to get through some shows quickly. Oh my god, it's a miracle. Now we have Masugakuen HXH. Or HH? I don't fucking know. X's and crosses are weird in Japan. The story centers around Kizunihida, who visits the Strategic Defense Academy at Araxia at his big sister's request. There he encounters Ain... Oh god, this name. Chidorigafuchi. Chitorigafuchi. I think that's it. A girl piloting the magical armor Zorosu. Ain suddenly pulls off her clothes before Kizuna's eyes. Don't look, you pervert, know you're the one. Wow, they even include the dialogue. However, whatever, about a serious mission arrives from Kizuna's sister. The mission to rub on his chest? Actually, Kizuna has the power to level up a girl through indies and acts. With a battle against another world, the future depends on this power. So as you can tell through not only the tags, and the name, and the promo art, and the synopsis, this is raw smut. Like, it's complete raw smut. And I watched the first episode. I'll explain why, but I watched the first episode of this. This is like a show that knows why you're watching, and like it doesn't pretend otherwise, which is kind of admirable in that fact. Like it's almost is like bad when a show is like, you know, like kind of smut and then it pretends like it isn't, because it's like, come on, because then you're just like you're getting like conflicting messages, like the show's trying to do one thing, it's like, we're not really that, and it's like, yeah, you totally are. And that's when causes shows to be like bad. And then this is just kind of like, we know exactly what we are and why you're watching, so here you go. Which is kind of like, well, at least they didn't lie. Like, of course, like, I've seen the season preview. Like, I had to look up the season preview for this for ANN because I was curious what they would say. And as expected, walls completely full of ones. Just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 out of 5. Which I completely expected, which is kind of interesting to me. There's a topic to be discussed about a show that is like this, but at least isn't pretending to be anything else. Like, I've always been the person who says not to judge a show based on some arbitrary objective standards you hold in your mind, but what on the show is trying to do and whether it accomplishes that or not. And this show is trying to accomplish smut. It should be judged as such. Although, to be fair, it's kind of hard to judge because all that's out right now is the censored version, which is kind of like, I will say, they got kind of creative with that censorship. Like, it's... there was some creativity in the censorship in this, which is fascinating. But there is an ATX broadcast of this that will be uncensored, which I'm sure someone will grab the broadcast of and slap the subtitles onto, which is probably the ideal way to watch this show, because if you're watching it, that's what you're watching for. So, you should watch that. The reason I watched the first episode of this after I learned, and it wasn't before I learned what it was either, I was after I learned what it was, and not just because, like I said, judge a show for what it's trying to do. The reason I watched it is because I actually kind of wanted something like this. And to explain that, because of reasons, I was thinking Tsukuda a couple days ago. And I remembered, that was a show that had full-on sex in it. Like, it didn't show the genitals, obviously. But it wasn't one of those things where, like, it was implied, or, like, it panned away and you just heard some noises and some stuff happen. Like, there was full-on thrusting in that show. Like, they banged, like, in your face. It was even one of the fucking scenes. They banged and then, like, the people saw them and it was fucking hilarious. Like, Tsukuda is one of the best unintentional comedies you could ever watch, especially Sora's Route. It's the funniest thing. But, anyways, like, it's been a long time since we've had something like that. Like, I'm trying to think of any other shows that actually went that far, that actually aired on television. Like, obviously, any straight-to-BD stuff will obviously, straight-to-disc stuff could have that. And then there's obviously hentai, like, straight up that. But a show that actually aired on TV with actually, like, full-on, like, thrusting sex is, like, it's been a long time since something like that actually aired. And I actually kind of miss it. It's kind of fascinating in a way. It's like, seeing what kind of shit can get aired on TV is, like, interesting. One broadcast already dropped the airing of this show. Although, albeit, people are contesting the reason why, because other stuff is aired on it that had this kind of stuff in it. But, I looked up things on the show ahead of time because I was thinking about this, and I saw some shots from the light novel, and I don't know, some of it might be promo material because it was, like, all color and stuff like that. but it looked like there was full-on sex in it, like in the light novel. Like it looked like they were banging, and it was like, well, shit. Like it'd be actually kind of interesting to see if this is actually happens in the show and it actually airs on television. Like it's been a long time since we've had something. Like again, like I said, all I can remember is Yusuga no Sora. Maybe there was another show that did it that I can't remember, but that was the last show that I can think of that did it. It's been a long time. Like I'm actually curious to see if it'll go that far. Like I'm gonna watch it just because I want to see if it does. Like I'm morbidly curious. But yeah, it's Smut. If you want Smut, here's Smut. Like that's basically all this is. Like it's a pretty binary choice. If you want Smut, watch this. If you don't want Smut, don't watch this. It's a very easy recommendation. Moving on, we have the third season, or is it the fourth season? I don't remember anymore. Of Fate Ilia, which I stopped watching. I liked the first season actually. It was actually pretty enjoyable. It was actually pretty funny. And then the second season was like okay. There were a couple good gags in it, but then it got like a little too serious at times, and there were some parts that were dumb. And I think I watched. Was there a third? Is this the? No, I can't remember. I think this is like the fourth season or third season or something. It says 3 in it, but I think it might be the fourth because I remember watching a bit of like a third season. Maybe I just didn't finish the second? I don't know. But at some point I stopped watching because I was like, whatever. Like, it was alright. Like, I watched it largely because it was like a fun little lighthearted kind of comedic thing. Like, it was actually solid. And there was actually some pretty good animation during some of the fights. Like, Silverlink can actually put out some pretty good fights when they want to. So, that was cool. But I'm done. Like, I got my fill. I don't need to watch anymore. But it's the third season. If you like it, here you go. Or maybe the fourth. I don't fucking remember anymore. So here you go. If you want more, then there you go. Bam. Moving on, we have Scared. Wait. I think it's supposed to be Sacred, but it says Scared. Or Scarred Rider. Scared Rider Sex. A world of godless people a world of godless people were being menaced by Nightfly Onote, a mysterious alien invader. The anti-Nightfly Onote fighting unit, Scared Rider, I have hiccups, I think, valiantly stood against the threat, but was completely wiped out 5 times. And so the 6th and latest unit, Scared Rider X, was assembled from 5 young men. However, at nearly the same time that SRX was formed, the Nightfly Onote invasion stopped suddenly. Without the enemy they were supposed to fight, the SRX members spend their restless days dealing with ordinary life. Meanwhile, a young woman is assigned as their instructor and commander. A new life begins for the young woman and the SRX. So it's like a show that was going to be interesting, but then decided to not be interesting. I mean, if it's probably one of those shows where they're just like meandering around, not doing a whole lot, and then by the end of the show, like the invasion resumes, and then they have to do stuff or something. I don't fucking know. I didn't really have any expectations for this going into the season, and then from what I heard online, from what people were saying, it's like a whatever show, so I decided to pass it. That's basically it. Like it could be interesting, like as far as like I said, like as far as like what the fuck the invaders were up to, like who knows. But it's based on a game, so my hopes aren't very high on a plot being interesting, and I think it might be a mobile game. I don't know. So my hopes aren't exactly through the roof. So I don't know. And then Satelite's an alright studio. Like, they're okay. Like, you know, they actually put out some decent stuff occasionally as far as production goes. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. It's probably not, I don't know, it doesn't really appeal to me that much. If it appeals to you, though, then by all means, yeah. I feel like the season preview isn't as good as my other ones. I feel like I'm not saying things I usually say. Mainly because I'm not even bothering to make guesses on some of these. Probably because I've watched half of them, so whenever I get to a show I haven't watched, I'm just like, who knows? But maybe I'm just trying to, like, avoid blame. Like, trying to avoid saying a show's gonna be shit, and then I turn out to be wrong, and I'm like, fuck. So, who knows? Moving on, we have Tsukuda, Tsukuda, the animation. Wow, why was that so hard? A television animated adaptation of Tsukuda, a music and original drama CD series about anthropomorphized months. Months? How do you give months personalities? I guess based on the, like, holidays that are in them? You could actually do something with that, with the holidays that they're in. Interesting. I'd actually want to watch this show just to see what each month is. Kind of, it's one of those shows where, like, your birth month is your favorite month, and you're like, they're the best. Anyways, Tsukuda has 2 versions, a male version and a female version. The male version centers around the Tokyo Idol Unit 6 Gravity, composed of characters representing December to May, and the sibling rival unit, Proclarium, composed of idols born in Western Japan and representing June to November. Wait. Idols born in Western Japan. The other one just says characters representing. But they're the Tokyo? I guess one's Western Japan and one's Tokyo. Because Tokyo is like somewhat central to Eastern Japan, I believe. I don't remember. I'm bad at geography, one of my worst subjects. Geography and history. Having to remember specific information like dates and names always fucks me. That should be obvious by the fact I can never remember names of characters and stuff. Anyways, interesting. So my birth month is in the rival unit. Interesting. Wait. Oh, December. I was like, wait, it ends June to November. Where's December then? It's December to May in the beginning one. Okay. Damn, so I'm one of the rival units. Shame. But wait, it says a male version and a female version. And it says the male version centers around that. Oh, I guess the female version also has like a Tokyo group and then like a Western Japan rival group or something. I don't know. I'd be kind of interested to learn the months of the male and female versions of my birth month, but otherwise I don't really care about the show that much. It's another idol show, and again, Udapri's like cream of the crop. You can't beat that. Well, I guess maybe some show could beat it down the line. Who knows? But whenever that happens, I'm sure I'll hear about it because Udapri's huge. So whenever a show finally manages to be better than Udapri, everyone will be like, oh my god, it's even better than Udapri, and I'll definitely hear about it. So I can just let people do the judging for me. Oh, it's so easy. Watching idol shows is easy.